Myanmar. The Southeast Asian country has found itself in the midst of the fastest growing refugee crisis. The armed forces and majority Buddhist population are clashing with a Muslim minority more than 1 million strong called the Rohingya. The ethnic group has been in Myanmar for generations, but recently has been the target of vicious attacks from the military on grounds of being labeled non-citizens from neighboring Bangladesh. The violence is a catalyst for the fleeing of thousands. Myanmar is led by one of the most esteemed humanitarians, the Nobel Prize laureate Aung San Suu Kyi. Suu Kyi heads the new National Democratic League and stood as a beacon of hope after decades of military junta control. As their de facto leader, she is needed now more than ever to take action in order to stop the genocide of the Rohingya Muslim minority. Her country and the world have cheered on the Nobel Prize laureate, who for decades led a nonviolent struggle to transfer power from the military to a civilian-led democracy. It is this past that makes it difficult to see the Suu Kyi who would stand against what the UN is calling ethnic cleansing and crimes against humanity. David Matheson, a longtime Myanmar researcher for Human Rights Watch, remembers that Suu Kyi. She was electric, she was funny, she was informative, she was principled. And I think it's lamentable that she's not doing the equivalent of that now. Though lacking in military control, her immense civilian influence could make a positive impact on the treatment of the Rohingya who still remain. To understand why the human rights advocate has not done so much as to speak out, we need to understand 3 things: her political views, her disposition, and her global relations. Aung San Suu Kyi has never demonstrated sympathy for the Rohingya people. Besides the economy, a peace process with insurgent ethnic groups is her party's main focus, but ethnic leaders question her sentiments. Before Myanmar's 2015 election, she simply avoided the topic of the Rohingya, and last year pulled a U.S. ambassador aside to ask him to not call them by Rohingya, showing that she sees them as outsiders. Due to this view being an apparent parallel to most Burmese, she has no political gain in outwardly condemning the military's actions. In fact, the peace process analyst said that she has one strategy: to have good relations with the Tatmadaw army. Similar to her political views, Suu Kyi's disposition is far from expected. An anonymous senior aid worker has called her dismissive and even dictatorial, saying there is complete fear of her. This, as well as her stubbornness to not follow outside orders, might be multiplied by the feeling of betrayal. The country's rights organizations and international leaders who once stood by her are now actively defaming. With hundreds of thousands of Rohingya fleeing to camps and thousands killed, Aung San Suu Kyi's political views, disposition, and global relations have perpetuated the humanitarian crisis and shocked the world by proving herself against the peace, human rights, and democracy she once stood for.